see. So on my mother's website, if you want to, you can go to Ritual Ceremonies Festivals. And under festivals, she's got a little overview of. No, it's not me. It's not. My mom did this all herself. Okay,
I did, but it's because you.
because of me. Okay, come on up.
Yeah.
No, you can sit.
So I think you were going to play the videos and.
I'll play the video. Do you want to do the introduction first, and then I'll do the videos?
Okay, so
Either one. I can.
I
Yeah.
think I'll sit down.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's so many things I'm hearing which is also true for Holi. We have lunar calendar, and we also have the adjusting month comes in between to adjust the timing, and then also it always falls on the full moon. Just like Diwali falls on the dark night, and this always falls the full moon that follows. And then I don't know when this celebration actually began, because the 4th or 5th century poet, very famous poet Kalidas, wrote about this festival, but it was not called Holi at that time. It was like describing the nature. The flowers are blooming, everything is beautiful, things are changing. So I couldn't find the actual text, but it is mentioned long time back. And then over the time, things started changing. And now it's very famous story. There are many stories people talk about why Holi is celebrated. One of them is there was a woman and her brother. They were torturing the whole community. They were very powerful, but the woman was called Holika. And she had blessing that she will never burn in fire. So there was a small kid who was full of, he represents the goodness in us are everywhere in humanity. So they were very threatened by how good he was and how everybody was liking him. So the Holika and her brother, they decided that we are going to bring this kid and burn in the fire, because she thought she's not going to burn, she has blessing, and she holds the kid, goes in the fire, and then she burns, but the kid comes out. This is a story, I don't know how true that is, but I think this is what is famous these days. To remember that, people these days, a week before, they start collecting like broken branches or anything you don't want in your house on the corner of, they designate an area, and everybody will start bringing, like a Tibibek will show a very nice video later on. So they start collecting things for whole week. And then on the night before we play the colors, they burn that, and then they use really bad language, and they do all sorts of silly things there. They dance around and they just go wild. So that is night before actual color playing. And then how color started, I don't know. I feel that when you're tortured or when you're suffering, then at that time, the whole outside world or inside, it feels dark. And then you don't see any color. So then all of a sudden, when this Holika was disappeared, then everybody started seeing color, and then and in olden days, they just took the flower and special herbs, which is medicinal value, and then that's what they used on just as happiness, express their happiness with colors. I think that's how it was. So, but now these days they are using very different things. So I don't know what else I forgot. Yeah, there is also harvest season. They celebrate at the beginning of spring, and cleansing is very important. So that's why people go wild, and then they drink a lot of, I have made something, there is no marijuana or anything in there, but in India, people make something, a drink, which is special for this particular day. You add some, marijuana hota hai na, bhang. Bhang is marijuana, na? So you grind it and you just mix it in that drink, and that helps you go get out of all inhibition you have, and you go crazy and you do a lot of silly things there. You will see in the pictures. And then right after that, since this was a long winter, they people clean their house actually after Holi, because there is color, and then you paint your house, and then you do all sorts of deep cleaning. And before that, since that fire was burning, you from your house you bring things and you throw it in there, so things you didn't want it. So it's sort of like welcoming the new thing. I'm ready for new beginning and things like that. So yeah, I think probably right. Now you can show the pictures and then.
Okay, did you want to show your videos that you have on your website too, or?
I think people can watch later or something.
You can show one of
You
them.
show the real ones.
Okay.
I think I can just explain. So there is one of the groups. They beat their husband. Usually women are women are tortured, but in this at this day they have they are allowed to beat their husband with the. So this is one.
I love it. Okay.
Got one in.
This isn't all India. This is like,
This is not all over the India. This is one part of
Not
India,
too much.
Gujarat. So they actually, I mean, they're not actually beating, but they can beat you. So this is one kind of Holi, and then another kind of Holi is very interesting. That is not very common. That's only in Banaras. There is a god Shiva who is the god of, like some people say, death or detachment or things like that. So their follower, they go to the place where they are burning the body, and they take the ash and they play with that. So that other video shows a little bit. It's really weird, so if you guys don't want to watch it, but I thought
and this seems a little showier. The one on the left seemed like legit, and then this is more. Oh no, this is okay. This is actually.
this is
right.
different. So they
Different
just
one.
go there and they just take the ash and then just throw it in on and play with the ash. Actually, not with the colors. So that's a different types of Holi, and then.
Rita, what does the word mean, actually?
But which
Holy.
Holika, that woman. So based on that, they just Holi doesn't mean what English holy is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think they just shortened her name because she was So I think, and then the other one is it's the same thing. Other one is a very famous Bollywood song. If people have interest, everybody likes that one. And this is another way of people beating their husbands. So first they dance, then they beat.
And you're telling me when you were But my mom was telling me when she was growing up, you didn't get to beat anyone. You had to. Most women, unfortunately.
Yeah. Where I grew up, you'll see that image when Vivek shows that I was not allowed to even see outside. There will be thick curtain, and if I really wanted to see what is happening outside, then I will just peek so that they don't see me, because as soon as they see me, they will start using swear words and all that. So I think the women, especially where I grew up, I was not allowed. At home I could play with my female relatives, but I cannot go on the street even for a week before our parents will say, no, don't go outside. So because people are free at this time to do any kind of thing they want, they can, So show the real ones.
Also, so just to give you guys a little bit of a look into like a slightly more traditional place, which was where my mom is from, Mirzapur.
Yeah.
So the reason my mom and I were there was because my grandmother was very close to passing, and so we went there to spend time with her. And at that time, Holi also transpired. For me, I really dislike the story of Holika. To me, like burning a demon or whatever seems like, it seems brutal, and it doesn't seem like a lot of the things that we've been talking about in spiritual healing. Rather, I like to look at it as a way of taking negative energy and transforming. And I remember Anil had written on the post for the Kali event. Do you remember what you wrote? Because it's kind of deep. Oh, Anil had wrote, like he had heard from somewhere, that like positive energy moves you forward.
Oh, right. Yes, yeah. Positive energy moves you forward, but negative energy transforms.
Transforms you. And fire represents transformation. So the interpretation, a lot of what my mom has been doing in our collaboration is taking these like Indian cultural stuff or these Hindu cultural stuff and translating them in a way where it's personalized to each of our viewpoints. And so my deep discussion with my mom was that, okay, we're not necessarily burning, but rather fire represents transformation. We're taking our negative things and we're transforming them into something positive and beautiful. So that's the symbolism that I like to look at or think about. And so when we were there, spending time in a way with my grandmother as she was coming close, to death itself, and having these deep thoughts and discussions, we were able to experience Holi, and it was really interesting because it's very different than the cities of India, where things are a lot more maybe cleaned up in a way.
Yeah.
And in Mirzapur, things are still a little bit more like the old days.
Still preserved, those little.
So you get a little bit, I think it's just really kind of interesting. So this is, and Mother can describe, so you can see it's a little bit rougher, it's not like gentle play. And this is the night before Holi, and this is in my mom's village, and
yeah, this is the Holika there, and people have collected all these things for a whole week there, and then now this is,
So they're burning it, and it's pretty wild because there are electrical wires here, and eventually the electrical wires go on fire. And it's just like, and this is like every intersection.
It's not one place; it's every intersection, and they are using bad words right now. So I don't know if it's recorded.
And so it's interesting. It's interesting. Okay, so this is one view, and then I'll show you another video, and then we've got this one.
Is it mostly men that are there, or
Yeah.
is it men and women?
Only men.
Only men.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my mom's village, in the cities now, things are changing quite a bit.
Yeah, things are changing. Yeah. Women have their group, they go out, but they don't play this rough in cities.
But Ma, you were out there too, right, at the fire?
Yeah, this year.
This year
I
she
did.
was.
Oh, look at this. This is garbage curry. So then they squirt from the top. So, and this is colored water they are throwing. Yeah.
So that's one
That
example.
looks really fun, actually.
That's like sunbread.
Yeah. And there's my mom. And I'll show you a few more, just very quick ones. And this is an example of just like a band of boys, just kind of coming down. It's kind of interesting.
Those all cables and wires?
Yeah.
And then monkeys are always hanging on them. They're not there right now, but you
They're
see
scared of
them.
those boys,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's interesting. They've got these silver look on them.
Yeah.
I think this prevents them from getting other colors on them.
Oh, interesting.
So in any case.
I mean, it seems to be a theme of sort of disinhibition
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this space, and like culturally, is there just a lot of like inhibition year round, and is this sort of like where people just let loose, let that out? Because it feels like there's a lot of like bottled up energy that's just being dispersed.
There are a lot of things you
Yeah.
can't. You shouldn't be drinking. You shouldn't be having those marijuana openly. I mean, things are changing, but I think that's how we grew up. It's bad. It's bad. But then at this time, and there are certain things you do on Diwali also, that's okay for you to do. So they have allotted certain period, then you can, nobody will say anything to you.
Does it escalate into like more violence? Like actually people really hurting each other?
Sometimes it does actually, sometimes it does. But then,
Yeah, I haven't. I was just thinking about it.
Watch what? What is that?
It's a movie,
It's like a
The
horror
Purge.
movie.
Well, you're not allowed to murder people.
That's true. It's interesting. I think what's interesting here is that like you have elements of beauty, you have elements of symbolism, you have elements of a little bit of danger. And like some of the old school stuff, I mean, we were just talking, I was watching on a YouTube black hole, I just went down into it, like this wedding ceremony in Dagestan, which is somewhere near Russia, and they have a jokester. And the jokester is like a violent person, kind of. They're going around punching people, they're getting punched. So this is kind of interesting how, like, you know, these are ideas that have some value of human expression. And I question sometimes in modern society, whether it's good or bad, that some of these values are being lost, you know, or being like kind of muted. I don't know.
So we were talking about moshing at
All right, we were talking about moshing, yes.
And moshing for the most part is fun.
Yeah.
Once in a while though you get people that are like
It's tough if you're female.
kicking their boots at people's heads.
This is
and
true.
They
it's
roll you
bad.
around.
Yeah.
You're tall.
But
fun
it's
for you.
like
Yeah.
one out of 100 people that are like that. You know, so it's
Different experience
Yeah.
depending on the body,
It's interesting. And then this is like I was in the streets and you can just see a bunch of guys doing their dancing.
What changed at this time that they are using different music, but at that time when I was growing up, there were very traditional music. Group of people will come and they'll be doing some drumming and singing.
My mom's gonna sing a regional song after this last video. So then this was, you can see, but even here it's a little bit intense. You know, they're going gentle with my mom.
Yeah.
That's not me. That's someone else.
gentle with me. Yeah.
These last two videos seem really joyful. Like there's just a lot of like playfulness in these.
Good people that care about each other too.
Yeah. The
There are a lot of
violence isn't
flavors.
there.
There are a lot of flavors.
But can I also add something about the burning of like at like the ceremonial sites? Because I was watching something recently about like left-handed tantra and like how, you know, yogis will sit at these burial grounds and like praise God like as people are burning, because like I think there's something really beautiful, because it's something that we scare away from, especially in Western society, where like death is really sterilized. Like we see people in coffins, we see them filled with formaldehyde and like pushed away and then shoved into ground, and like we don't really have a spiritual connection with death. And I feel like that's something, as an oncology nurse, like I've had a lot of experience with death, and so like it's something that I've had to come unlearn a lot of things and learn new ways of experiencing the spirituality in death. And I feel like let's just not shy away from that. Even it's hard to look at it sometimes, but like there's actually God in that too. There's like there's connection in the rebirth, like the galvanizing of something new. Like we can bury ashes into the earth and earth will make something anew of that. And like I don't know, I wanted to like something about that just seemed important to not gloss over that. Like there was something really beautiful in that teaching. So thank you for putting that on your site. I think that's really cool. That you added
that's the theory behind the bhasma. They call it bhasma Holi.
Okay,
so
thank
and
you.
then that's not all over the India, but that's specific to that region. And then we are also not allowed to go as a woman to observe that thing. But that's why I have never experienced it. But I think that is the theory behind it whole.
In Benares?
In Benares.
Do women have their own kind of thing that they do to show the same transition in season?
They play inside the house among themselves, like relatives, and then now in bigger cities, women have their group also. They go in their group and do, but not in. You didn't see any woman, right, outside when you were.
In Delhi, we used to play Holi out.
Yeah, Delhi,
Like
Bombay. That's what I'm
everywhere.
saying. The bigger cities.
Bigger cities, there's no problem with men and women playing Holi
Well,
outside
and
on the streets.
We were children and we would go out. And, like,
No, I was
we had
never
the whole big
allowed
group
to
of
go.
children.
Yeah, so-
No matter how little I was, I never went outside.
Things have changed.
And
That's
it's
cool.
interesting that, you know, the night before when you have the burning,
Yeah.
that also takes place on like many streets, like corner of the streets in Mumbai as well. But it's interesting that in Mumbai, I don't know if it's because it's Maharashtrian, we put like puran poli, it's like lentil cakes. So it's not necessarily like throwing away garbage, but you're also like, you can also, there's something like respectful, whatever you're putting into it. It's like you're putting like nourishment in that as well. Like you're putting lentil cakes and then milk and coconut. So you know these are like, and then so it's not just the burning of it's not just burning of everything bad. It's also like sort of nourishing it as well. That, at least that's how I grew up with the fire. So it wasn't just the fires there weren't made of like stuff that you had to throw away. It was like made with you know, whatever branches of trees you could find or things that were meant to like cut down and it's kind of like a slightly different taste of holding.
We have the same in Delhi too, like in the north. The fire that we built is from the wood that you're not going to use, or it's just dead wood, and then people will just put in rice in the bahar sometimes. But fire, like building fire, is not that common up in the north side. It's mostly playing with colors and having palm. I mean, they drink with the weed, the marijuana in it. It's very, like people wait for this day so that they can, you know, play around and It's a fun time. People get to do whatever.
Yeah.
Like a devotion, like a
I so appreciate because it's like so important to have like all these different perspectives, and so like it's important like one like snapshot doesn't like overwhelm like the larger view of what's happening throughout. It's a big country, so I appreciate that. I really appreciate that you guys added on to that. Sweet.
So the colors as well, like now in my city we are using food-based colors.
Yeah.
Because in the past when we were little, they would use like harsh chemicals. Sometimes grease.
Yeah.
Some people would do that too, and it's so gross. So nowadays they have educated themselves about cancer and other skin-related diseases. So now we use a lot of food-based organic colors.
Yeah.
But I have never played with colors because of the same reason. Like any chemical, I'm just gonna keep away.
Yeah.
However, like we do go to our friend's house who celebrate Holi, and we'll at least like do a little, touch their skin with the color.
Yeah.
Just put a little color, just to symbolize. It's one of the fun events for us. And also we play like you saw the water gun. Pichkari we call it. Those are like ready and loaded with water and color.
Oh, we also have balloons.
And then you throw water balloons at people.
Yes.
Not out of spite, but out of fun. Like everyone's out there on the street knowing that we are out here for fun, and we'll be like thrown off with some water balloons on our face. Like be ready.
I appreciate it.
It's a fun event. Never saw this though in Delhi where they collect garbage stuff to put on fire. I've never seen that in my city. Only seen, but what I've seen is the fire part is mostly in January when they're doing the last harvest. They call it Lori. Not around Holi though. I'm not sure, but yeah, interesting like how different regions in India have different traditions. Beating your husbands is fun. I think that should be applied across the country, across the world. Imagine the ladies drinking pong and beating their husbands that day.
Pretty epic.
Well, that's fun. Thank you for.
I wonder if do the husbands have fun with that too, though?
Yeah, I think this one actually not beating because they're saving themselves like that.
Sure,
Wish they could beat. Actually.
There's something very romantic about it. Like they do celebrate. It's like how I think that particular tradition is where like women are exercising their, or not rights, but they're like expressing that how you're irritating me all this time. That's my turn to irritate. It's something, some teasing going on, and men are like having fun with them.
Yeah,
protecting themselves. They don't really beat them hard. But I've heard stories, like some of them do beat really hard.
Yeah, but the concept is there. But actually they hurt them. Yeah.
Have you ever like experienced Holi in other parts of the country though? Like
no.
Never?
Oh, Mumbai.
So okay.
Yeah.
So
no, but I was never. Sorry, I'm just Diwali I have seen in Mumbai. I've never, just only Mirzapur.
I was in Rishikesh for Holi one time.
Ooh, so did you go to Varanasi as well?
No, not that time. I was there for a while, but I was in Rishikesh for Holi. That was interesting.
Yeah.
What does the cleanup look like?
Oh, we don't know.
We shouldn't talk about it. That's why, like, the food-based organic colors became important because they can just degrade in earth. But nowadays, people are much more cautious and more like environmentally aware.
The video you saw where they were rubbing on my face. It took me whole hour to remove the color from and they have a specific mixture that you use to remove it. So I think it just, even then it was not completely gone.
So when we used to play with colors, when we were little, we would put a lot of coconut oil on our face so that the color doesn't stay too long. So if you're gonna play today,
this is the powder. This is the powder.
Even if the powder if you're putting powder color on your skin, Yeah, it will take time.
This
I
is
mean, it will go
this
away.
is gentle stuff. This won't. I don't
Yeah.
think this will.
Yeah, we are doing the evening one. By the
Okay.
time evening comes, then everybody becomes, they will change, and then that's
see.
the decent Holi playing. That's
Yeah.
not going like the one you saw.
Yeah, yeah.
You will just put some bindi and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you'll just be very nice and friendly and things like that. Because you removed all your negativity before, so now you're all good.
But MIT always organizes Holi events. Have you ever?
And
That's the interesting
BU.
thing,
I've been
right?
to the
Yeah.
BU one.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every university in the States, Holi is such a big thing. I've actually never gone to any.
I went to the
Holi.
one last year. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like it was almost
It's
like
not
all the BU ones I've been to have been almost so sanitized in comparison. Because it's all a bunch of us in like white clothes so that we can get splattered.
Yeah.
And it's just like the whole alleyway that we take over is just
Full of
like
colors.
insane at the end. You just look at it and you're like, what happened? But then they say, they're like, well, you know, Boston rains a bunch and like it's just gonna rain and then that's how Mother
Yeah.
Nature is gonna clean it. Like they don't get all that worried about it. And I was like, because they use all the, you know, like the
organic.
the organic,
ones.
like compostable, like
Yeah.
things that easily digest and organic like materials. But I was like that it just seems I really appreciate your presentation, Rita, and like and everybody's contributions because I just feel like I have a richer understanding of like the complexity and actually like the real history as opposed to just sort of this vantage point that I had received prior. So thank